Mentality, the word which we use often but we know very least. I googled the word mentality and I found just a meaning, that is the way of thinking. But just try to define it more precisely. To help you understand the concept better, I've used this beautiful analogy between human brain and CPU. CPU, which is also called the brain of computer. So let's start the analogy. Our brain works on two levels. First is the conscious level, the conscious brain, where all our thoughts are born, where all our thoughts are processed. We will talk about thoughts later on. But for now, conscious mind is where we take decisions, we use logic, we calculate and we think basically. It's like RAM, where all of the data processing in a computer is done. If it's not there, the computer might start but it won't be functional. And the storage is the subconscious part, subconscious and not unconscious. It's where all our thoughts are stored. For a brief moment, let's talk about thoughts. Thoughts are the data which travel through our neural network, that is our brain. And where data is stored? In the storage that was our subconscious part. If some brain is working fine, the thoughts are never lost. They are stored properly in the subconscious mind. We forget only those thoughts which were somehow unable to build any connection with the conscious mind. It's like no access to RAM, the CPU might not know whether the file is there or not. Therefore, we forget but we remember. हम भूल जाते हैं लेकिन हम याद रखते हैं. Okay, so RAM is the conscious part, storage is the subconscious part. Where comes the mentality? In CPU analogy, mentality is like the complex mixture of cache and the wires or the electronic path that are just like our neural network. So mentality is the path that our thoughts take during their flow. There is a note. What we realize is our consciousness. But our consciousness is just a part of a whole brain. So there will always be a subtle difference between what actually is going on and what we realize. In case of mentality, we realize it only when the thoughts are flowed towards the conscious mind. So it's like computer itself do not know what's inside the storage until RAM has access to it. So we can say mentality is the path that our thoughts take while flowing towards the conscious mind. The thoughts which flow towards the conscious mind, they trigger other thoughts which altogether defines our way of thinking. So mentality can certainly define the way of thinking, but way of thinking cannot define mentality by itself. So I give you the first definition of mentality. Mentality is the path that our thoughts take while flowing towards the conscious brain, and while flowing they trigger other thoughts that altogether define our way of thinking.